Hi, everyone. Good morning. How y'all doing? I hope the light's okay. I left the overhead light off because going to be a sunny day. It's nice and clear out right now. Just at 8 a.m., it's 1 degree according to my laptop. It's going to be sunny later. Not sure who all's around this morning. Give everybody a few minutes. Donnell already dropped in a little bit ago, says she's going to catch the replay. But thank you very much for dropping in to say hi. And she gave me a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Oh, here we go. KD Crafts, Kim Burris, Marie Johns. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Just see who else is coming in here. Debbie Ott. Oh, hello, Debbie Ott. Thanks for joining. I live in British Columbia. And Laura, thank you for coming. First Come Catching Life. Thanks for joining. So here, I'll do another post just so you guys see it better. I know you've seen my little photo around. There we go. Okay. The reason why I was thinking of changing that little photo is that is of our old dog Maximus. Hello, Tracy Albert. Thank you for joining. We lost him a year ago today while my husband and I and our friends were in Florida. And up until now, I haven't had the heart to want to change it. But I think I might now. To what I don't know, I'm sort of trying to decide that still. I'm kind of torn. Poor old guy. He was 10 and a half. And from sort of Christmas 22, he started kind of slipping a bit health-wise. He'd kind of been arthritic and everything. And, you know, how old dogs get. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for coming in. And we'd had our trip planned with our friends. And we told the kids, if he goes while we're gone, we don't want to know. So we went off with our friends on Valentine's Day. We drove to Seattle. We stayed at a hotel. And usually a lot of hotels down there will let you leave your vehicle. They give you a special parking pass. So we did that, and we taxied off to the airport and flew off from Seattle to Fort Lauderdale, picked up a rental car, drove to Key Largo, did some groceries, got in our townhouse, and we were eating what there was a late dinner, but for us still felt like 6 p.m. And our daughter was texting and saying that he wasn't eating, which was not uncommon because sometimes he didn't want to eat anything, but then the next day he'd be fine. So we didn't think too much of it. Maybe he knew we were gone, whatever. So we just carried on doing our thing. On the 16th, we were messing around in Key Largo, and there was a seafood place down the street where you could, buy fresh stuff. And the guys like to cook. So bought a bunch of that, some salad, buns, etc. And we had dinner that night in the townhouse. And the next day on the 17th, we wandered around in Key West because we drove down there for a while. Did that whole thing. Oh, thank you, Katie. She says, change the photo when you're ready. Yeah, I'll get there. I don't know. We'll see. I don't even know what to change it to. So that's kind of immaterial at the moment, but I'm thinking about it. And on the 18th, we drove back to Fort Lauderdale, dropped off the rental car, and Ubered over to the port and boarded the Sky Princess. I always bring my laptop with me because I'm technically supposed to be like on call. And as long as you have Wi-Fi, good to go. So we were emailing our daughter, and she was giving non-committal replies. So we kind of thought something was up. Yeah, Kim says, wait till you're ready. So because my daughter's a vet tech and has been working for these vets for a long time, she's got to be kind of friendly with one of them. So Dr. Carleen, one of the other vet techs, came to the house. They put Maximus on his bed and they put him down. And when we got back, his ashes were in a nice urn on the bar with his collar around them. We previously had another ash urn from our old dog, Angus. So we have a little collection of dog ashes on the bar. Oh, thanks, Marie. If it makes you smile, hold it dear to your heart. Thank you. He was such a lovely dog. He was a wingnut, but he was a lovely dog. In some of my camping videos, you guys can see him. You could tell he was getting old because he was kind of like hobbling around. And my first video 5 years ago, he was only 7.5 then and was still doing pretty good. It was him jumping around in the snow because we didn't have snow then, but just over a couple blocks away is the ice rink. So when they go around with the Zamboni, they come up back and they dump it all. As long as it's fresh, it's nice and it's clean, and the dogs can jump around in it, and it's okay. It's when it gets old and yucky, we don't allow it, but it was fresh. So that was my very first video. Yes, he was, Kim. He was a lovely dog. He was a big guy. That's what we called him, Maximus. Ferris is not quite that big. He's big enough, but not that big. And the reason for the tote bags is I'm making one for my daughter and one for her friend because they're going cruising together at spring break. My daughter's good buddy, her roomie, they've been friends since like grade 2. Thick as thieves. They're roomies now in a basement suite in her friend's aunt's house. So the two of them are cruising. Yes, Laura, it is difficult when we lose the fur babies. Katie says, on the subject of old pets, my 19-year-old cat says it's time for second breakfast. Yeah. They do run our lives, don't they? I'm going to leave the light off, I think, because you should still be able to see the other camera pretty good. If it's too dark, let me know. But I just want to show you what I'm doing. For a kind of in-depth way to do these bags, I've made a bunch of them now. I made one December 22 for my friend for Christmas and kind of goofed it up, so I had to change the handles around. That was my bad for not paying attention to what I was supposed to be doing. And then I made one for myself in January with the pockets changed around different, how I wanted it. And we took them with us on the cruise, and comes in handy because you just kind of fold it or rolled it or whatever. There's nothing substantial to it other than some batting in the handles. Excuse me. So it's easy to, roll up and like socks in your suitcase or whatever. So Marie John says she had a 19-year-old cat too. Yeah, cats can live a long time, can't they? Unfortunately, not doggies, especially the big guys. Oh, there goes my eye. I just had a Facebook notification from our friend, and their dog was just a bit younger than Maximus was. And their dog Skookum, he was a Malamute, and he made 11 in November, and they just had to put him down last week. So I'm going to switch the other camera, and let's see what the light looks like. If I don't have to put on the big light overhead, I will not do so. Okay, that looks reasonably good. Okay, I'll come back to chat in a minute. I already made this pocket, so I'll show you how I make the next one. It still has, which is the end of it that has the opening. Just a minute. Go. Here it is. There's the opening that I have to change it through. I folded it in half so I have the middle, and I folded the lining in half so it is the middle. It doesn't matter how big you make your bag. Make it how you want it. Just make sure that your 2 pieces of lining and your 2 pieces of bag outer are the same size. After that, do whatever you want. So I generally put my pockets sort of 4.5-ish inches down from the top. I'm pretty sure I cut these bag panels at like 20 inches high or something like that. I forget exactly because I cut them a little while ago and had them sitting there. I haven't had a chance to get back to this. There, 4.5, that looks pretty good. Maybe yeah, there There we go. That's better. Actually, I had 4 3/4. 4.5. There we go. Okay. We'll do that. Let's put a mark so I don't lose my place. We line up the middle of the pocket and the middle of the fabric. Make sure it's all good. And my opening's over here. Let's pin it. I want it shifting around as I move over to the sewing machine, so I'm going to pin it. I know not everyone's a fan of pins. But in this instance, it is helpful. Got a notification for something. If you have 2 pieces that you need to sew together to make the pocket, by all means do so, or whatever size you want it. I had a big enough piece that I just folded it over and sewed around 3 of the sides, well, most of the sides with an opening to turn it through, but I didn't have to sew the bottom because it was folded already, so that makes it slightly easier. But if you don't have a big enough piece, you don't have a big enough piece. Just sew them together. Or maybe you want your pocket to be a different color on the inside. Whatever. It's your pocket. Do the way you want it. So I'm going to sew, kind of look in the camera over there. Sew around, back tack really good because you want this to be sturdy. All the way around to the top to hold it down. And what I usually do too, just to make sure, is do another line of sewing along the bottom for reinforcement purposes, just like move the presser foot over 1 notch, right? Or move the needle over 1 notch, I mean. So maybe an 1/8 rather than a 1/4, but anyway, do whatever you want. You don't have to, I just like to do that. So there's that one's ready to go. I already did the handles before. So what you have to do next then, and the pocket goes on the right side, obviously, so it's inside the bag and not tucked away. So this is kind of hard to tell what's the right side on this. It looks like it's like white on, well, no, not even. It's like off-white with little triangles. I thought they were dots at first, but they're actually triangles. So then you just put the right sides together like that. Leave yourself a gap because this is how you got to turn it through. So I just put a little mark thereabouts. Put some pins in it. I'm just going to move this out of the way and show you how to do the other pocket. I don't want it to be, actually, no, maybe I should just pin that or sew that one on, then it's not going to be a problem. We'll get that out of the way for right now. Okay, change of plan. Do this on the fly, you know? Yeah, we'll do that. I was going to pin it and get it out of the way, but I think I'll just sew it and then it's done. Okay, let's go back to chat. There we go. Okay, what did I miss? Oh, hi, Jackie. Good morning. Oh, Marie says a 6-year-old cat named Lucky, but that wasn't the case. Oh, darn. Jackie DB Stitch Art is in. Good morning, and good morning, Deb Somerville. Thank you kindly. Kim Burris is making string blocks using newspaper for foundations. I have 26 9.5-inch blocks done. I'm going to make younger grandson a quilt, all bright colors and prints. Oh, sounds good. I love making string blocks. And newspaper is great for it because it rips off so easily. I conveniently have a pretty good color of this sort of brownish tan thread in my machine too, so I might as well just do it rather than change it back again later on. All the fluff in there. I do still have my 1/4-inch foot on the machine, but I'm pretty much just top stitching this on. I'm coming in a little bit, but it isn't a full 1/4 inch for the seam to sew this on. Sometimes you got to help it along because it's a little bulky. There we go. Pins out. When you get down to the corner, just go as close as you need to and then pivot. I'm coming in a little bit on the bottom. I didn't go right to the actual pivot point. So I'm farther away on the bottom than I was down the side so that I can do my next row stitching just underneath it. One more. Let's go by hand here. That look pretty good? Yes. Okay. And as I went down the side, I just closed up that gap where I did the turning through. Just make sure you press it good, get it all nice and flat, looks good, then sew it. Come on, there we go. Pin out of there. One more. Now let's back tack a little bit. Okay. Good to go. Now the other thing I have to do too is sew down the middle so the pocket's in like two parts. You guys can see that. Good enough. When I folded it over, I kind of pressed it with my finger, so I had a pressing line, and I was going to sew down there. Come on. Okay, so let's go here. Sew that down. Oh, look, dog hair. Wonder where that got here. Ferris. Okay. And we'll back tack at the top. There we go. Okay. Whoops, come on. Ooh. Do that. One more time along the bottom. I'm just going a tiny bit over from the other line of stitching on the bottom. I didn't even actually move my needle position. I'm just moving it over physically. So it's about, I don't know, 3 stitches lower than the other one. You can't really see, but at least you don't have to look at the side of my head. Hang on. Coming back here. Okay. This row of stitching is a little bit more like top stitch. Just to be sure. Okay. There we go. Ta-da! This lining and pocket is for the bag for my daughter's friend. I had to kind of guess on her phone. I think she has an iPhone, but I'm not sure. So I might have made the pockets too deep, but I know for a fact my daughter is going to need bigger pockets because she's got one of those Google Pixel phones, and they're really long. I made mine shorter because I got a Samsung phone, so don't need to make it that big. But if you want to put a phone in it, you might want to measure your phone to know how deep to make the pocket. All right, let's get that out of the way now. Put the other piece of lining with it. Oops, this way. Inside, yes. Right sides together. All right, we'll just fold that up for the time being. Over here. Now, I have this darker brown for my daughter's pocket. I'm just going to switch out thread. You do not have to completely match the thread color to your pocket, but I like to kind of get close enough. If you wanted to make it completely different, though, that is a design feature. Whatever, do what you want. Have any of you ever made bags before? I think I can almost do these ones in my sleep now because I made a pile of them for my friends that were cruising in the Med last spring and they all got one. So I made loads of them now. I do want to make myself a quilted bag, though, to use as a book bag for the library. I actually did have a bag from the library for a while, and then the bottom kind of went on it. So now I'm using a bag from Holland America that I got on a ship tour, and it's holding on, but the bag is going. So I think I need to do something different. Otherwise, I won't have a book bag. Hey. Okay, put that in there. Hold on, I'm just threading. I'll take that pocket up and show you guys a minute on the other camera. One sec. There. There we go. That's better. Okay. So as I was telling you when I was sewing the other pocket on, this is 2 pieces of fabric. I hope so if I have them pinned the right way, I guess. But yeah, that was me being dumb. Just a minute. Take that out. All the pins out. I did not want to get these lost, but I should have had them right sides together better, shouldn't I? It was dumb. Anyway, I put 2 little marks You can see that in green. I'm not going to sew there. That's my turning out opening. So let's go right sides together. I'll measure this again when I get up to the mat. Hold on. I forget how big I did it. Just a second. There. To sew the pocket pieces together, I will be using a 1/4 inch seam. It just isn't totally necessary when you sew the pocket onto the lining that it is a 1/4 inch. But you can do that if you wish. You can make it 5/8 if you want. Up to you. As long as it's secure, you're good to go. Okay, put that up there. Let me get the other camera going. Hang on one second. Okay. Okay, there. You see that all right? Let's measure it. It is 20. Hold on. It's straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1/4 inches high and 10 1/2 wide. You guys see that okay? Okay. All right, I'll go back. There we go. Okay. Oh, Kim says, oh my goodness, looked out. We almost have an inch of snow with more falling till afternoon. They're forecasting 2 to 3 inches. Charlotte says, I've made a lot of bags. I just finished a Bailey Island Hoa bag from Auntie's 2 patterns. Oh, that sounds cool, Charlotte. Occasionally, Kim, we get snow around this time of year because my son's birthday was on Tuesday, and sometimes it snows on his birthday, but it's been pretty nice all week with a little bit of rain here and there. By this afternoon, we should be up to like 7 or 8 degrees Celsius. And then tomorrow's pretty dry. Sunday, we might get a bit of rain. Monday's cloudy. This weekend's a long weekend in Canada because Monday is Family Day. It's always the 3rd weekend of February. Okay, so I'm starting at one of my marks. Good back tack. Off we go. And go up to the corner. And one more stitch maybe. One more. There we go. Now I'll turn it. There we go. Okay, coming up to the last mark. And back tack. There we go. What is everybody up to for the weekend? Deb says, got a dusting of snow in eastern Iowa, and Katie says cold and a little snow here in Denver. Yesterday, I didn't even need a coat. Yeah, that's what happens around here sometimes too. On Monday, it was like 10 or 11 degrees in the afternoon, and I just put a sweatshirt on and walked Ferris around. So, I mean, yes, it's cold in the morning, but it warms up pretty good later. Katie says, going to make my quilting student's house this afternoon to continue working on her big applique project. She's a beginner quilter, but fell in love with an intermediate level quilt. That was nice, Katie. I'm sure she'll be okay with a little guidance. Yes, Deb, that's nice of Katie to help, for sure. Get some new quilters, right? My friend is working on a quilt for her mom, but she's really busy with work, so she hasn't been able to finish it, and she wants me to help her do binding because usually she just does them and then turns them through and then just sews it around. Let me just grab my scissors. They're over here, of course. I'm just trimming up my corners so I don't have bulk. Just don't cut into your stitching and you're good to go. There. Our friend that we cruise with, he's the manager of a butcher shop in town. Oh, Deb says she's making a sewing machine cover, quilting it right now. Awesome. And yesterday he brought over 75 pounds of pork because we're making sausage this weekend. My husband put some of the cure in it and got the spices ready. Today he's got to grind it one more and mix it all in. And then tomorrow morning, his brother and our nephew are coming over and they're going to do the stuffing and the linking. And then the sausages have to get hung on metal racks. And on Sunday, my husband's going to fire up the smoker and smoke it. It's called hardwurst. It's sort of farmer sausagey, and part of the mix gets taken out and put different spices in it, and then they link it with skinnier casings, and that's pepperoni. But it's the same meat mix. You just have to adjust the seasoning part of it. So now we turn it through. Well, I probably could have left myself a bigger space. Oh well, we'll make it happen. Oh, didn't even put the iron on. Look at that. In. There we go. Get that going because I'm going to press this in a minute. Okay. Usually for turning out pockets and whatnot, I just take my fingernail and kind of slide it down the seam and poke it in the corner. Usually does pretty well. Sometimes I use a chopstick. Just like, I'm not trying to give you guys the finger, but that is my middle finger in there that I'm just doing how with. Okay, I think chopstick's gonna have to come into play now. Sun is bright from that angle. Okay. Poke the corner. That looks pretty good. Kind of run that down the seam a little bit too if you sort of hold it on either side. And now let's do this side. On the other pocket where it was folded over, I did my opening turning spot on one of the sides. But for this one, I will have my opening turning spot on the bottom of the pocket. And then when I sew it on, it will close up just like the side one did. Okay, let's see. That looks pretty good. Let's go down along the seam on the bottom a little bit. Hiya! Oh, what's going on? Settings. Webcam. Huh. That was weird. Sorry, I froze there for a sec. Katie says, I started one quilt 2 weeks ago. I didn't like how it looked with my fabric, so I detoured to making a pinwheel quilt now. Oh, hi, Terry. Thanks for coming in. Having dropsy today. Okay. I'm just kind of jiggling the seam along here as I hold it with my other fingers. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it as open as you can. It's just flatter that way. But at the bottom of a pocket, nobody's really going to notice. There. That looks pretty good. And a little rub with the fingers. KD says, all good now. Good. I know if it doesn't look right, I know what you mean. It just bugs me. Like, I know it's not right. You know what I mean? I guess I'm my own worst critic. Okay, so where your opening is, you just got to give it a tug. I stick my index fingers inside of it, kind of fold it a little bit and just sort of pull it slightly, and it kind of goes flat, and then you can just take your fingers out and carefully ease it together and sort of pinch it and rub it and make sure it's the like level, not one side sticking up and not the other side. Now we press it. And I have to make my middle mark in this one too, because I'm going to do the same with this one. So pardon me while I'm up here at the iron. So first of all, press to get it flat. Seam looks good all around. Yeah. Okay. Fold it in half. Come on. Yes, I talk to my fabric all the time. There. Okay. Sewing line. Voila. Bottom that way. Okay, now I'm going to switch camera on you guys again. In 1 second. I'm just going to make the middle of my other lining more apparent here. It's a bit straighter. Use that side. This is kind of a mottly batik that I'm using. If any of you saw the grad quilt I made a few years ago, oh, what the heck was the pattern? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this was it. It was boring. Makes good lighting though. Okay, there we go. 1 second, I'll change the camera so you guys can see better. Okay. Katie says, the last of my triplicated Joanne's orders just arrived. Now I got to return 2 of them. Oh, for that's irritating, Katie. Laura says, this question is off topic, but I'd appreciate any ideas. What information do you generally put on your quilt labels that you're gifting? I don't make very big ones. Usually I just put, to so-and-so from Kelly, and like the reason why. I put a little bit more information on my dad's Sudoku quilt label, like that it was quilted by my neighbor across the street and that I did the pattern myself and that kind of thing. But usually it's just like to, from, and like the date or why, like for grad 2023 year, like that when I do the grad quilts, that's what I put on there. Yeah, Katie just said the same. She says, I usually put who it's for, why it's gifted, from me with love, and the date. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I do. Okay, camera. All right. Yeah. So let's measure down. Both my daughter and her friend are short like me. So I don't want to have the pocket too far down. 4.5's okay though. Yeah. I just make a mark in the middle just so I line the pocket up. And this is one of those pressable heat erase pens. And it'll go away. All right, pocket. Now let's make sure the bottom where the hole is. There's the hole. That goes on the bottom. Line up the middle on my line. Make sure it's straight. I always draw a line and use the ruler because I don't want my pocket to be like that. It's got to be straight and even and level and all that kind of stuff. There. Okay. Pin. We're going to do exactly the same procedure with this pocket as I did with the other pocket. Sew all the way around, 3 sides, sew down the middle, extra along the bottom. And I'll show you guys the girls' bags in a couple minutes once I get this done. There, okay. Good to go. Sorry, I only have 2 cameras. Be nice to have one showing the sewing machine too. Okay. Joanne says I've forgotten to put labels. I usually only label quilts, like I don't do them for table runners or anything like that. Project's too small, I don't worry about it. KD says, quilt historians say to put full names, dates, and where made. Well, where made's not a bad idea, actually. Laura says the quilt is a gift honoring the birth of my great nephew. Ooh! My niece is a first-time mom at age 40. Wow. She didn't think she could have children, and God had a different plan. She's so excited. That's great, Laura. That'll be just a wonderful gift. Awesome. I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind that coming up relatively soon, I should start making baby quilts just to have a stash going. Not there yet. But my daughter's really good daughter and friend, other really good friend, again, since elementary school ages ago. This other friend's getting married in September, and my daughter is the maid of honor, and the other friend's a bridesmaid. So down the road. But this other friend is her parents are our cruising buddies. My friend is also a quilter, so maybe we can collaborate. Maybe we can each make one. I don't know. I'll have to talk to her about it. But not quite in baby mode yet. There we go. A little bulky problem at the beginning. My machine likes to go, ugh. There we go. Oh, that was a good thread color. Perfect. It's like chocolate brown. Sometimes the color goes funny on this camera. Like my shirt is a corally pink. It looks really pink to me on the screen. Okay. Oops. Okay, looks good so far. Okay. There's the last pin. And a little back tack. Okay. Come on. Whoops, cut this one off too. There. I'm not going to sew that other line or the bottom. You guys get the idea. I explained it before. So there, that's done. So those two lining bits can get sewn together. Now, this is going to be my daughter's bag. Yep, that's Bernie's Mountain Dogs. I already did the handles in black. And that's why I picked the darker brown for her pocket, because of the brown on the dog's feet. I just have to sew these two sides together. So you sew right side to right side for the bag, and you sew right side to right side for the lining, but leave yourself a turning spot in the lining. Pretty simple. That goes with that. Now, the other one, this one's already been sewn together, so I'll just flip it around so you can see it. The fabric for the handles is not exactly the same black. I just used scrap what I had, but it's all this cat fabric. Isn't that cute? Obviously, with the cats being directional and the dogs being directional, I had to be careful how I cut it. You don't want them sideways. That would look weird. So once I have the other one sewn together, I am going to box the corner so it goes flat. I usually do 2 inches, 2 inches this way, 2 inches that way on both sides. Same with the lining so that it matches. I explained all that in all my other bag videos though, so you guys can go see that. It's not that hard to do. Okay, that goes with that. There. So that's going to be some of my weekend project because I'm not in the sausage making. We have an area off our garage that we built after my father-in-law moved here and put all the stuff in it. Like we got a big stainless steel table and everything. And it's not that big. My husband's a big guy. He's 6'2", and his brother's pretty tall. Our nephew's not that tall, but 3 guys down there, that's enough. They don't need me. Put all my pins back. All right. Laura says, thank you for all the ideas. I never thought to put it where it was made. I'll have to remember that for the future. I guess that's good for posterity's sake, right? I'm just putting pins back in my little thing here. Makes sense. In case the quilt survives for ages and ages and ages, then people in the future know. Oh, thanks, Marie. She says those are cute. I love sausage. I could eat it every day. Yeah, my father-in-law used to make sausage. Like that was his work. So that's why the family does it. And we just share it around among the family members. Everybody ponies up. Like we figure out, okay, the meat costs this much and, and then we divide it. We made X number of sausages and it just gets like per 65 cents a sausage or I don't know, however it works out. And then however many sausages people want, they just pay it back. They just give us the money. Because we already paid for the meat. And our friend brought it by last night. So everybody then owes us money for their sausage, if whatever they want, however many. And they get made about 8 inches or so, about that big around. Kim says, that's awesome, Laura. Quilt labels can be fun, but I usually put who it's for, the date made my name and said given in love. That's a good idea too. I forget which quilt it was on. I think the Layer Chops quilt that I made in the summer. At least one of my semi-recent quilts, I explained how I did my label. Maybe even 2 I explained on. Heat and bond comes into play. Oh, Kim says, I love sausage, but I have to be careful. It doesn't always like me. Well, that's the other reason why we like to make homemade, because we know what's in it. Nothing weird. It's meat and seasoning. And there has to be some cure in it. When we make the fresh bratwurst, it does not have to be cured. It is made and packed and put in the freezer. It's fresh. It doesn't get smoked. Laura says, I'm fortunate enough to have received a beautiful embroidery machine from my husband, and I'm thinking of embroidering a label. That is a great idea, Laura. That would work beautifully. Sometimes what I do, depending on if I have to piece backing or not, I will put the label as part of the backing. And I have fabric pens. I just have to write what I want to write and then press it and it like they stay. So depending how the backing is being made, sometimes I just put the label in there and then I give the whole thing to my long armor and she just quilts over the whole top of it. So yes, there's quilting lines through the label. It's totally fine. You can still read it. It's cool. Now, I couldn't do that with my dad's Sudoku quilt because I just pieced together two big things of green batik. I didn't want to be fiddling around with it. But in the past, when I made like scrappy backings, then I put the label as part of it. So I just got the quilt back, put the binding on it, and I just picked a spot down in the corner and I just sewed the label on by hand with like whip stitch. Oh, hi, Teresa Louise. Marie John says that would be fun, Laura, and you get to play with stitches as well. Yes, for sure. That'd be so cool. Kim says, oh, Laura, that'd be beautiful. I have a Topaz 25 sewing embroidery machine and love it. I've only done one label so far on, but definitely going to make more. It has 5 built-in fonts. That's good. That'd be a perfect way to do labels. In the past, I got to find more of that stuff I ordered from Amazon. It was white fabric with like stuff on the back where you could put it through an inkjet printer. Now, I've got freezer paper with backing on it that theoretically I can do that. And my dad has an inkjet printer. And I have printed off labels before on that. And I've got, not Scotch Guard, what's that spray stuff to set things? Whatever that stuff's called. So I would go over to my dad's and I'd print off a bunch and I'd sit them on top of his dryer and let them kind of dry a little bit. And then I'd spray them and let them dry. And then I could put them back in a folder and brought them back home again. So if I knew like upcoming quilts, okay, I need this label for this and this label for this. But I ran out of that stuff. So I either have to try the freezer paper version, which has instructions for doing it, and see if that works, or I have to get some of that other stuff. I think I bought it at one of the quilt stores. I went, oh, that looks cool. Let's try it out. And it was great. Yeah. Teresa, don't worry. I'm glad that you came. She says, finally here for a live. I know it's not always convenient. Jean is doing her live at the same time. Yeah, it is what it is. I appreciate you coming, though. So since it's 9 o'clock and we've been on for about an hour, I'm not going to go into any more detail about those bags. You've been watching my channel long enough. You've seen how to do it. If you want to go back and see one of my in-depth videos, December 2022 and January 2023, I think I did a highlights in the spring when I did all those bags for my friends. But I didn't explain that much, I don't think, then. I didn't use any fusible. Oh, what do you mean for fusible? The print-on stuff was fusible, Teresa. I forget what the brand of it even was. I'm going to have to go look it up. It had like the paper backing. So then once you had your label ready to go and put it on the back, you peel it off. The paper comes off the back, and it wasn't that sticky. It only would like tack on kind of. So I still had to pin it. But it was okay because it worked. And then I just sort of went around the edge with like satin stitch to kind of, or sometimes I folded it under, pressed it, like peeled off the back and folded under and pressed it. Sometimes I even used the 505 basting spray just to help it stick a bit better because the sticky on it wasn't all that great. And I have not tried the freezer paper, so I don't know how the sticky is on it yet. If I figure it out and do it, I'll show you guys. Kim, yes, my email is listed on my about page, or I don't think they've called it about anymore. It's more, whatever. Laura says, I'm excited, but also a bit nervous. My husband supports my hobbies. We saved and saved to get the Epic 3, but goodness, the learning curve is huge. Yeah, I'm sure. Technology, right? You'll get it, though. Just keep going. Fingers crossed. The word you're looking for. Yes. Sorry, Teresa. Took me a second. Still early. Oh, hi, June. Thanks for coming by. Good morning to you. Kim says the Epic 3 is my dream machine. She needs to win the lottery. Yeah, that would help a lot of people. Be nice. Oh, sorry. Oh, I only had a cup and a half of coffee. I didn't finish the second one. Maybe that's why I'm yawning so much. I'm kind of working on the rainbow string quilt a bit. I got to finish those bags. I'm working on a pet bed, but I got to cut more little bits of whatnot up and start stuffing it again. I don't have too much to do until the end of the month, though. I'm kind of thinking I might hold off on the string quilt and get a bit more green, like maybe 2 or 3 other colors. Like I'll see if there's like fat quarter scraps or a quarter meter or something. I'll go to Fabricland and see what I can find. I just need a little bit more variety for the greens because I have to do. Hang on, my pattern's right up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 7 fully green blocks. And then I need another 6 of the green and blue, I think. So I have to use a lot of green. And I want to vary it up a little bit better. So far, it's coming along, though. Joe says, what spring projects are you working on? Nothing specifically spring, I don't think, Joe. Like runners and stuff, you mean? No, I don't really do too much for spring. Ferris has an Easter bandana ready to go. I made that last year. I never even put his Valentine one on. I completely forgot. Plus, he's really dirty and gross, and I didn't think it was appropriate either. I thought about it last week and went, now he stinks. Bleh, forget it. And then I forgot. Laura says, Kim, he asked if I wanted that or a long arm. I decided I'd rather have the Epic 3. I'm certain it will be the last machine I ever purchase. I'm sure it will come in handy for you, Laura. I bet you can do a ton with it. Should be great. Upcoming projects, there's stuff that I'm going to do in the spring. It's just not necessarily a spring related project, if you know what I mean. Maybe by the next live in 2 weeks on the 1st of March, I'll give you guys an update. Hey, I'm going to do this and show you. I have to decide a little bit. And if there's any more done on the rainbow quilt, I'll let you know. But it sort of depends. Yeah, it's kind of hit and miss when I have time to do it, and it's going to be a work in progress for a while, I think. But in the spring, we got to figure out when we're going camping, and our friends live in Penticton on Okanagan Lake, and they want us to go there for the May long weekend. A bunch of other stuff that we have to kind of plan. So projects and work, we'll work around that. So I don't know. That's kind of why you get me a bit hit and miss with timing, because I just cannot plan that much ahead other than every other Friday. I'm just too busy. There's too much happening. I just can't do it. Joe says she's working on using the rest of the blocks made last year. Yeah, oh, sorry, you're questioning me. Yeah, I started this rainbow string quilt in July 2023, I think. Yeah, I think. So I did hey, this is what I'm doing video. And then I did orange. And I messed up a little bit, so I explained that in one of the video about the orange blocks. And then I did an update last month with a bunch of yellow blocks done. But I don't get to work on it all the time, so I don't always have a video of it either because I haven't done anything. I just don't have time. But I want to get the bags done because the girls are, the last day of school before spring break is the 15th of March. And they're flying out late to Toronto and then down to Fort Lauderdale. So we got to run them to the airport. So I want to get the bags done, ready to go. That's why I want to finish them this weekend. Then they can just sit and be ready and I'll give them to them. I got to print their documents and everything too. So that's what March looks like. My daughter is going to miss my birthday because they are staying in Fort Lauderdale overnight on the 16th before. And then they board the Caribbean Princess on St. Patrick's Day. And that is when we're doing a family birthday party at my mom's house because my birthday is March the 19th and my sister's is March the 22nd. So we always do our birthdays together. So I asked my daughter to bring me something from the Caribbean for my birthday. We'll see what she comes up with. In St. Thomas last year, there was one of the stores right off the ship that a whole bunch of pirate-themed T-shirts with kind of funny, snarky sayings on them. So I did suggest that to her. But the girls are also doing an excursion in St. Thomas. So depending on how long that takes, if they have time or not to shop, we'll see. But I suggested it as a possibility. I don't really need anything for my birthday, but whatever, you know. I don't think I have anything else to tell you. I do have to work a little bit now, so I probably should get going and doing that because it's almost 10 after 9. So if you guys are good with ending the chat, I'm going to say bye now. Oh, Marie says all I ask on my birthday is I don't have to cook. My hubby cooks all the time anyway. He likes it. I don't particularly, so. By the time we get to my mom and dad's on the 17th, everybody kind of chips in to all cook anyway. My dad likes to cook and fiddle around as well. Have a good day, everybody. I really appreciate it, you guys coming in and hanging with me while I was sewing and you couldn't see half of it. Eventually, I will try to get another camera, but they're expensive and, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Good to see you too, Teresa. I will see you all around on the weekend, more than likely, as I'm in and out. I have to pop into the office tomorrow and pick up a couple more travel pouches. We'll see. I know Laura Lynn's doing her long 6 hours, so I'll try and pop in on that sometime. Anyway, thanks for coming, everybody. Bye. Take care. Oh, you're welcome, Kim. Bye. Bye, Laura.